To another episode of the Flag Stays Down podcast. Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas edition, boys. It was not such a nice holiday Sunday. Chelsea coming away with a 0-0 draw at Goodison Park. We got a full house. We got myself, Andy. We got Parker. We got Matt. Parker, how you doing?
Fine on this Sunday after a quite boring 0-0 draw. Kind of felt like a bit of a step backwards, but to be expected a little bit where go to a hard place to play on a blustery night and whatever it is what it is. But weekend was fairly chill, fairly good. My older brother was actually in town, so that was fun. He flew in on Friday. And then Saturday we hit a new pinball spot that was north of our house, and it was fun to go with him. My brother's a big pinball collector and fan, as am I. So it was good to share that with him and get some one-on-one time with him. And he got to hang out with the little man. So good to, pawn him off on someone for a little bit and get some stuff done, sneaking a quick nap here and there. Just be able to take advantage of the extra pair of hands because family doesn't live close to either of us. So it's a little bit tougher to raise a youngin, but we make do and we deal. So, but overall, weekend was great. I'm just excited for a lesser work week. I only get Christmas Day off, but at least get a day in the middle of the week off, and then January should be fun for me with a pretty extended break. I get to take part 2 of my paternity leave start of January, so that is going to be great. Looking very much forward to that, and get some time with the little one. Just hang out at the house and get shit done when I can, and take on a few projects when I can, and then just like I said, hang out with the little one. So that's me in a nutshell. Matt, how you doing, man?
Doing good, doing good. Was just up in Appleton for my to celebrate Christmas with the in-laws. So yeah, it was a good time, nice little trip. Just kind of hung out, ate food, pawned off Miles with grandma and auntie. So it worked out well. Um, but yeah, good times. Went to some Christmas lights up there, real close to the house. So little man had a blast. But yeah, all was good. Came home. My wife and I were just wrapping gifts right before the pod. So nothing like that last minute Christmas gift wrapping to really fulfill a Sunday night. But yeah, I mean, other than that, Parks, I'm sorry you have a short work week. I'm going to be starting week 2 of my 3 weeks off. So I will be doing a lot of just hanging out with the little man while the wife works. So the joys of parenthood. Just get to watch an almost 2-year-old just kind of run rampant around your house and hopefully not break anything. It's usually the goal. But yeah, other than that, we're all doing good. Collins, how are you?
Good, good. We just celebrated Christmas number 1 of about 6, I believe. Um, so good start to holiday week here. Um, but Parker, like you, have got the short week this week. Unfortunately, a lot of travel for me this week, uh, both for work and for not. A lot of dash time, which is good. But it is what it is. But boys, before we get into the festive season and our festive little surprise segment here, let's talk about what was the most boring match of the season for Chelsea FC. 0-0 at Everton at Goodison Park, our last ever game at Goodison Park. Initial reactions. Matt, let's start with you.
This was the first match where I feel like we were not in control. It seemed very wide open. We seemed very discombobulated. Not really holding possession as well as we have, especially given our form over the last 2.5, 3 months. Um, it just looked very lackadaisical. Um, the starting lineup was a little a little odd, given the Conference League match that we had on Thursday. So seeing the lineup, I had some questions, but it's hard to argue against it when, you look at the bright side, we held a clean sheet, right? That's a positive to take away from this whole thing. Chances were there from both teams. It was very kind of end to end, chippy at times. But it just, Collins, you called it out really well by the weather. Like it just seemed like it was going to be one of those just kind of bore fest of a game. And I think you called it a few weeks ago that Everton might be like that trap game for us in December, where we shouldn't have a problem with any of this, but it's one of those where if we're not on our game, we could lose or drop points. Um, and I think essentially that's what happened here. But man, that weather was nasty. Just seeing some of those diagonal balls just like die in the wind, and then some of them just keep going. That was crazy to see. But yeah, it just felt like it was one of those games to like a game that you just want to get out of the way. Like you don't care if you're win or lose, you just never want to see it again on your schedule for the rest of the year. It's just kind of how it felt from my side. Parks, what about you? What do you think?
I'm gonna kick it to Collins. Let's see what you think, Collins.
Well, again, I maintain it was the most boring Chelsea game of the year. But I think back to our comments and whatnot last week from our friends at Shades of Blue talking about, oh, it's so tiring every week to blame the manager, blame the same players, blame the tactics. This match brought me back to the Pochettino, Lampard, Potter nonsense, where Matt, like you said, not that we weren't necessarily in control, because I think we dominated possession, at least that was the perception. Everton kind of hitting on the counter. But there didn't really seem to be a rhyme or reason to the way we were attacking. It was aimless passing around. And I understand that the conditions played a big factor in that, right? For a team that uses the cross line balls, you look at Enzo changing the attack. You look at Levi Colwill chipping balls over the top to Nico Jackson. Those are kind of bread and butter, break the line moves under Maresca. And it wasn't Everton that neutralized that. It was the weather. So, how do you adjust to that, especially when Everton is sitting back looking to play the counter? Apparently we don't. It's something still being worked on. So it was boring. This is the first time all year I've been bored watching Chelsea. Something that made me appreciate the rest of the season, absolutely. But I really don't have any productive thoughts from this one.
You're in form when a draw like this feels like a loss. Like it feels like a letdown. It feels like a wasted opportunity. But as I've thought about my feelings towards this game, I'm kind of on both camps. One foot in both camp. Where I think it was Robbie Earle that said like, this is 1 point earned, not 2 points lost for Chelsea, and kind of in playing in the situation and the circumstances you described, Andy. It's like away, Goodison Park, windy as all get out. Could have bounced a couple different ways, but I thought we were close on a couple of chances. We hit the crossbar. I think Jackson hit the crossbar on a header, and then we had another very close opportunity to score somewhat early on, 20, 25 minutes in, something like that. And then I thought Bobby Sanchez played well too, where he denied a couple of fairly clear goal scoring opportunities, and then Tosin had a pretty key block. And so when I watch everything back, I'm like, yeah, I'm happy walking away with a point there. That could have gone anywhere. It could have ended 2-4. It could have ended 0-0. It could have ended 1-0. They could have scored in the 95th minute to take all 3 points, kind of a thing. And it happens to everybody. Everyone looks at the Liverpool result today and says, Liverpool are head and shoulders and feet above the rest of the league by beating Tottenham 6-3. You forget that Liverpool came off of 2 draws the 2 weeks prior. No one's infallible, right? Like everyone has days at the office that they're not at their top, peak and caliber, and everyone has days at the office where they look and feel and smell better than the rest of the league. And we've had our fair share of chances and opportunities where we look like one of the best teams in the league. And then today, was a regression down to somewhat of normalcy, but it just was us not forcing the issue. You guys pointed that out, right? We didn't force the issue enough. I thought we looked good when we did, put our foot on the gas pedal and go in, and then we looked complacent most of the time. And so when you see that 75-78% possession statistic, it's like, well, cool, but what do we do with that? If it leads to 28 shots on goal, great. But if it doesn't, then what are we doing with all that possession? So I see the positives. I see some of the negatives. I don't know exactly how to fully feel on it, but at the end of the day, it was a game that exists in part of our season, and we walk away with an away point and you take it. My initial thought though was like, boys are playing the real long game of being like, oh no, we're not in the title race. We drew away good as like, whoa, you can't put us in the conversation. So they're maybe just playing the long con game, which I kind of love. Could be a strategy.
So I think a couple tidbits from that match are interesting. The I guess the main one being, and Parker, you like to look at this. It's the year over year. Looking at the improvement, looking at the runway. It's a fixture that we have not won in years, a fixture that we have lost in several of the last few years. Today we were able to scrap out a draw, and it's not like we had 70. What do you say, 74% possession?
I don't know the final stat, but like at times it was in the mid 70s, high 70s.
But it's not like Everton didn't have any chances, right? They had some darn good chances. They had big saves by Bobby Sanchez, who kept a clean sheet. Had a big clearance by Tosin. And so it was a hard fought draw, at least on the defensive end. So I would like to think that there's improvement there, going from taking no points in this fixture in years past to +1. Would have liked 2 more, but you got to expect that winning streak to end at some point. It certainly couldn't go on forever. And just Goodison Park away, Everton, Sean Dycheball, shitty weather. This was just the one. It was written in the stars.
So I have to tell you guys something. I had to drop my brother off at the airport, so I left at halftime, dropped him off. Second half, I listened to the first 15 minutes on the radio, and I tune into the Chelsea app and listen to that, which is one of my favorite ways to consume a game. Is when you can't watch it, like listening to those two guys banter and talk over each other and just get excited for when things happen. It's fantastic, right? So 73rd minute, Everton has a triple sub, and one of the guys goes, "This is the Dychiest thing I've heard." Them making a triple sub, and I was like, "Can you say that? Like that's amazing." That's one of the most amazing things I've ever heard. It was the Dychiest thing you'd ever seen. You can keep that now.
I don't know where to take that one. I enjoyed it, but I don't know where to take that one. So, Matt, I wanted to touch base with you quick because you are our resident officiating critique or critic. Chris Kavanagh on this one. A lot of fouls called. Didn't feel like it necessarily. Maybe some more yellows should have been thrown out. How do you think Kavanagh did?
Spotty, I guess is the best way to kind of phrase it. And so it's funny you mentioned that because I was thinking that in my head as I was watching the game, and the very first challenge that Ashley Young had on Jadon Sancho, thought that one right away should have been a yellow. There was clear studs to the inside of the ankle after the ball had already been played. I thought that was as clear a yellow as you can get. But then he followed it up. He had another one, which I was like, okay, that's 2 in about 10 minutes. He escaped a yellow. You should probably give him one. And then it wasn't until he did the same thing again to Sancho, stomped on his foot, that he finally got a yellow. The one on Ndai, I thought the 2 from Ashley Young were way worse than the yellow that Ndai got when Neto split. I can understand why it was yellow given the position and kind of denying that opportunity deep in the Everton zone. So I can understand that. But a lot of calls were a lot of the calls that were just given as normal fouls were very ticky-tacky, not much there. And the ones that should have been yellows, I think were like, yeah, they were yellow, but there were a lot of other yellows that weren't called at all. And specifically even the one against Levi that opened up that huge chance for Everton. I was like, really? Nothing? Tarnowski pretty much giving a people's elbow to Nicholas Jackson. That was another one. I was it was just confusing, the decisions that were being made, as far as what's a foul and what's a yellow. I had a lot of questions going into that, but given how everything played out, like Everton had 20 fouls. I couldn't understand that. Chelsea had 12. I could see that too. Like I thought that the counts were fine. I thought it was an accurate representation of the game, but the actual fouls that were called themselves left me with a lot of questions.
Well, there were a couple, and I can point one out going the other way too. Matt, you're spot on in terms of the fouls and measurement of severity on those fouls seem to be skewed very oddly. But I can think of one going the other way, and that's Axel Disasi knocking down, was that Calvert Lewin, or maybe it was Ashley Young in the box, and that part was clean. Lets the ball go out for a goal kick, and then knees him in the head on the way back as he's getting
Tarnowski,
up. Yeah,
Tarnowski, who has become Everton villain number two for me behind Jordan Pickford, because Jordan Pickford still a douche. Like get shorts that fit. Let's start there. There's no reason why anybody wants to see a goalie wearing fucking nut huggers. Like there's no reason. Like let's just stop with that. Um, I can't stand it. I love the fact that he got a yellow and just had the most stupid look on his face. Oh, it was a thing of beauty to see. I have never wanted to punch a face so bad in my life, but that was just prime Jordan Pickford.
well, I guess the other talking point in this one, Parker, is Maresca's man management in this one. We've talked a little bit about the lineup. Certainly get a little bit more into that. Substitutions, you only made two in this one, both coming a little bit on the late end. How do you measure Maresca in this one?
Yeah, it's something that I've noticed a little bit recently where it just doesn't seem like we're utilizing our subs. And part of me knows why, and we didn't have a fully match fit squad today to kind of rotate in. So some of the guys that you would normally see rotating in were not available or were not had played midweek, which I get. The other part of me thinks like a dude like Marc Guiu, who's what 20, 21 years old, he can play on 3 days rest, like not every time, right? He can't do it consistently. You can't play every single match week in, week out, 3 times a week, but he can do it once in a while or for a cameo appearance. Dudes like Joao Felix, when I'm watching the game and it is boring and I am kind of looking for someone to force the issue, I've switched it up. And that's just something that I feel like he's more reluctant to do. And it's worked out well for him, I guess, in the past. So I don't know that he needs to switch it up today. You can't just play revisionist history and say it didn't work this time, but you look back and it's worked for him 4 or 5 other times. So it's not going to work every time. I get it. Just as I try to evaluate things, I don't think Noni and
Nkunku.
excuse me, geez, had a ton of time to impact the game coming in around the 80th minute. I just felt like that was a little bit too late, and in a game where we just need to sort of force issues. I agree with your comment when we were talking pre-pod. Like it's not like our guys were dead and needed fresh legs to come in and spark energy into the game. It's not that. It's just a different look, a different run at people. We've seen how Joao Felix can do that, where he can come in and just be a creative outlet to play alongside. Like I would have done like Joao Felix for Enzo, where him and Sancho could have linked up and had some kind of fun stuff going on. Different looks to break down defenses, kind of to keep changing things up. But I would have done that Noni sub for on the right at like the 60-minute mark and just kind of let him cook a little bit more. Neto had, in my mind, exactly one good play where he split the two defenders when he got double teamed and he took it on and got a foul near the box. Otherwise, I didn't think he had the best game in the world. So just something that I've noticed as a trend of Maresca. He hasn't been utilizing the subs. I think we get 5 subs, so to use 1 and 2 just feels like a little bit of a waste. We've got a deep team. We've got guys who are looking to make a name for themselves. And this is a bad argument, and I'm going to tell you it's a bad argument today. Like straight away, it's a bad argument, but I'm going to make it just to drive a little bit of a point because I was watching Arsenal earlier, and Gabriel Jesus started midweek for them in the League Cup, and then scored a hat trick, and then came in and started the game, got the nod again. Same opponent, I think they played Crystal Palace. Got the nod in the league and started again, scored 2 more. Obviously, I'm not expecting Marc Guiu to start and score 2 more off of his hat trick midweek, but when guys are in form and they're hungry for goals and hungry to kind of make a name for themselves and hungry to prove people wrong, play hot hands, right? Like, and nothing against Nico Jackson, and I think Nico deserved to start and he should have started, but things aren't working. Give a kid like that a trot to try to make something in a big game. Here's a shitty situation. We're drawing at Everton. Go clean something up. Go make something out of nothing. Go win a ball that you weren't supposed to go win. And I know that Nico does that too, right? I'm not slighting anybody here. I'm not penalizing Nico for how he played or anything like that. Just something I noticed. Wanted to bring it up to you guys.
So one of the things now that you're kind of bringing it up is, from what I can recall, and Collins, you can please fact check me on this, but it seems like Enzo makes a lot of reactionary subs as opposed to proactive subs. What I mean by that is he waits to see what the other team does before making his subs. That's the one thing that kind of sticks out as I'm thinking about it. I might be wrong by that. It might be 50-50, he makes the first move or whatever. But to me, it just feels like he's making more reactionary subs. Like, hey, let's see what the other team does, then let's do it. And yes, you can make an argument for or against that. I think, if that is your approach, teams can wait until the 80th minute, right, to make a sub, and they have exactly what they want to do. They know who they need, and then we make a sub at the 84th or 85th minute, whenever the next opportunity arises, and then we're giving people 5 to 10 minutes to try and impact a game when the other teams had 15 or 10 or 15 minutes, right? So that's just one small thing I noticed. I'm okay with not using all of the subs, but it does seem like he's afraid to do like more than 2 or 3, right? Like we have 5. Do we need to use all 5? No, we don't. It's just there. But are there opportunities where I think we could use maybe a little bit more of an overhaul instead of just what I would consider like the same circle of subs, right? Like we see it all the time, right? It's always Nkunku for Jackson. It's always, some combination of Neto, Mudryk, or, Noni kind of rotating there, or Sancho. Like the wingers just kind of go 1 for each other. And then you might see a defender every once in a while or somebody to replace the midfield. That's kind of what we stick to. I'd like to see something maybe a little bit different, and I think maybe a better rotation. So to me, I don't think Noni. I think Joao Felix would have been the better option for Pedro Neto in this game. Noni, we know what his move is, right? Take people 1-on-1, 1-on-2, either take a shot on himself on the left or try to whip a ball in, and that's his move. Joao Felix has so much creativity and he opens up so many different things, and his link up play, we know what he's capable of doing that. I think he would have been the better option in a very stagnant game, kind of up to that point, right? Not a lot of big chances for Chelsea. You need some sort of creator outside of kind of what we were doing, just kind of passing the ball around, Collins, like you said before, right? Just kind of kicking it around without a purpose. I think he gives you that option. He can do it himself if he needs to, or he's very good at, linking and unlocking other players, right? We didn't see a ton out of Cole Palmer compared to what we're used to this game. You give him another option like a Joao Felix that he's going to open things up. Defense is going to focus a little bit more towards him than they would, let's say, a Noni. And then that might open up Palmer to be able to do some of the things that he does. Um, I'm fine with Nkunku for Jackson. That, like I said, that one's pretty standard in every single Chelsea match. But I would have liked to see Joao instead of Neto in this Everton game.
Yeah, and I understand your guys' arguments. I will say that. Absolutely understand the rationale behind all of it. I will also say it seems recency biased because going to specifically the reactionary versus proactive argument. We it's been working in the past. I look at Poch, I look at Lampard, I look at Tuchel towards the end. It was the proactive approach. We were the first to sub, usually. And so we were the ones saying, all right, we're changing what we're doing. You adjust to us. Didn't really tend to work out. Now, I don't have any kind of data to support, whoever makes the first sub is going to win the first game. I don't know what, or is going to win the game. I don't have any percentages on that. But I will say, just a week ago, we were talking about, wow, what depth we have. We have guys coming off the bench and scoring goals. And that's been a season-long conversation we've been having is guys coming off the bench scoring goals. Now, Joao Felix, I think, is the only guy I would have liked to see off of that bench coming into this one. But, Noni for Neto. Neto didn't really do anything in this one. Noni, you want a guy who's got some speed. He's a line breaker. He'll dribble past a Mikolenko, a Brathwaite. And Nkunku is your closer at the 9 position. He can't play 9 the whole match, but he's your closer there. And really, when I look at the squad, you've got 2 number 9s. It's Guiu and it's Jackson, and we've got 2 games a week every week for the next several weeks, and I have had 2 games a week, and so those 2 are just on an alternating schedule. I don't think Guiu is going to play in this game. Had this game in some magical fairyland gone to double overtime, penalty shootout, yeah, maybe at that point. But 90 minutes, no, he's going to play against Fulham. Joao, absolutely, I think is the one that could have came in. But what Maresca has been doing has been working. And now I think the important thing to see is maybe it didn't work so well in this one. And again, I blame the weather. I think this is kind of a weird, outstanding game there. But how does Maresca react to this game? I think is the more telling thing. When we line up against Fulham on Boxing Day, how does this lineup look? How does he manage his subs? How does the formation all work? That I think is going to be the most telling thing, because we've seen over the last 2 years at this club that, okay, we lost, we had a disappointing performance. Let's throw the exact same shit against the wall and hope it works this time. If we see a little bit of change, if even the slightest bit of change, I'll be impressed.
I think we're going to have to, only because, and I think this is just a testament to how key Marc Cucurella has been for our team. But Cucurella couldn't play due to red card at the end of that game last week. And so he was suspended, which led to Malo Gusto being on the left, which I'm not going to say Thunder Matt. I don't agree with either, right? I didn't agree with him starting on the left and how we lined up at the back for that purpose. But, that aside, I think we will line up different against Fulham. I don't know if it's going to be our full B team. It's going to be interesting to see how that works, because our midweek team has kind of been our full different 11, for lack of a better term. So will Jorgensen get us shouted out? And our center backs have been a little bit depleted, so I'm guessing we're going to see similar center backs of Tosin and Levi, and maybe I don't know, maybe someone else, but I think it's going to be pretty consistent there. Is Lavia back and fit? Otherwise, you might see Kieran Dewsbury Hall in the midfield with a Caicedo. Um, it's going to be interesting to see how we line up. I'm also intrigued at how Maresca handles this kind of run of fixtures because December has always been chaotic, and I think we've had a couple of let up games, not only because they're Europa Conference League opponents, but they were also not must win games in the Europa League Conference League. So they just didn't have the same, pedigree on them. They didn't have the same kind of attention drawn to them. So having 3 Premier League games in 8 days, that's where, managers kind of earn their stripes, right? Can you rotate the squad, get results, and kind of keep everybody happy and keep everybody rotated through instead of running the same thing out there week in, week out.
So I wonder if we're going to see the same lineup though on Thursday that we saw today. Today was pretty much your A1, I would say, with who's available. Because Fulham is a stronger side. Yes, they're little brother. But then your next fixture is bottom feeder Ipswich, who has just been ran through by everyone this year. That game, Monday Night Football, screams B squad to me. All right. Well, boys, Christmas and Hanukkah, which I found out is on the same day, is upon us, coming up on Wednesday. So we're going to bring back, we're going to give our little gift to you all. Play a little draft, little fantasy draft here. We have not done one since last season. But the theme of today's draft is top 5 things out of the Chelsea Megastore that you are asking Santa to bring you this year. So the way this works, we'll just go round robin here. Everybody pick something in this instance from the Chelsea Megastore. We'll make 5 picks. We'll put it up on the poll. You let us know who wins that draft. Boys, any questions before we get started?
No, I think I'm good.
Seasoned veterans at this point. All right. Share my screen for the boys here. We will go Matt, then Parker, then myself. So Matt.
Colorful choice is going to be taken off the board early then.
Matt, start us off. What do you got?
All right, I am going to do the Chelsea Christmas pajamas. I don't care that they're women's. I still want them.
Jordan Pickford style.
Yes, exactly.
I would like to take the Jordan Pickford hair gel kit. No, I'm just kidding. Give me the 3rd kit with Cole Palmer on the back as my number 1 pick.
That's the black one?
It is the black one.
Solid. I just took mine in to Stefan Soccer to be personalized. Enzo Fernandez, what I decided on. So I found something on the Megastore that is pre-order. I want it. It is a coffee table book called Blue is the Color that has all of our kits through the years. It is a kit collector's dream. So Blue is the Color, the book is mine.
Andy, you bringing it back? Are we snaking or are we?
Nah, Matt, go ahead.
All right, I will take the Chelsea pre-match top in navy. It gives me vibes of the black 2011-2012 kit with the blue squares that were on it all around the chest. It brings me back to something like that.
I don't know if I know what that is. Oh, that guy. Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I see that. Kind of like the Matrix-like pattern to it.
Yep.
Sick. I'm a sucker for like outerwear, training stuff. So I'm gonna take the Nike N98 Tech fleece jacket. You can just put Tech jacket. Yeah, they're oversized. They're super comfy. I basically live in them around the house. So
all right. Well, I'm gonna, you guys know me. I'm very simple. I like the Bing X logo. I like things bright. I'm gonna go with the pink long sleeve training top. All right, Matt, for your 3rd pick, you've already got the Christmas pajamas and the navy pre-match top. Where are you going next?
I'll take a Sam Kerr 3rd kit.
Always a classic.
I'm going retro with my 3rd pick, and I'm doing the Chelsea blackout shirt.
Which one was that? Sorry.
It's called the Chelsea blackout shirt.
Oh, yes.
It's got the Commodore logo.
Well, I'm going one with my third pick. I'm going with one that I saw somebody wearing at Highbury today. It's a beanie hat. It's the New Era retro cuff knit. It's yellow. It's got blue zigzag with the 90s CFC logo. Um, yeah, big fan. All right, Matt, round four. What you got?
All right, you guys know how much I love things that are atrocious. I will take the ugly Christmas sweater.
What I haven't seen that. I think I've seen that one, but I'm not sure. What does that one look like?
Hold on one second. So this is actually,
I think a
I
bunch
don't
of
know
clubs have these.
yeah, I think a lot of them do, but this one I think might have been the year before because this one looks different than the other one. But basically royal blue and black striped with gold. It's got some couple gold reindeer and then it's got the gold Chelsea lion with CFC over it, some snowflakes and trees. It's a dandy.
Very solid. Very solid. All right, Parker, where are you going?
I'm going with something that I can wear like casually, but I can also like wear to work. I like some versatility in my collection, and you guys know I like watches, so I'm going with the Chelsea chronograph watch. It does make me miss the days that we were sponsored by Hublot, and there was a Chelsea Hublot watch that was available. It was only like I think it was like $62,000, something like that, roughly. But a boy can dream, right? I kind of love how watches feel like they're either feast or famine. And it's like, oh, it's either like $150 because that's what 143 is what this watch costs in the store. It's like, oh, it's either 143 or it's like, oh, it's $22,000. It's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, okay, I see that.
Go big or go home for Santa, right?
Yeah, there's just no chill.
Thank you for the transition here. Speaking of chill, another pre-order item for me. It's the Cole Palmer graphic tee, Chelsea Football Club across the front, on the back, picture of Palmer, says Ice Cold FC underneath him. That is my fourth selection. All right, Matt, bring us around round five.
I will take a brand new collector's item. The Mikhailo Mudryk supplement uh pack. I'll take that.
Ooh,
I had to throw
Automatically
some.
disqualified.
We haven't talked about it, so I had to throw
we
something in.
haven't talked about it.
Um, so it's not on the Megastore, but I know I can still get it somewhere. I need a Thiago Silva kit. I don't care which one. I just need a Thiago Silva kit.
I don't know what happens when you get a kit after the player has already left the team.
The last one I got was Rudiger.
Yeah, I know, and then he
I
left.
got it after. I got my Rudiger kit. I bought it after he had confirmed that he was signing with Real Madrid.
Ah, okay.
Good man. Mine's in the same vein as Matt's, but it is something that's on the Megastar for a pretty exorbitant price. So I would never buy it from the Megastar. But they have a fun collection of signed jerseys, like framed signed jerseys. So I'm going with the John Terry 1998 signed framed shirt.
That may be the first one of the draft that's stolen. Just looking at that, I was like, oh, no one's going to be looking at these. That's sure as shit. Well done, Parker.
You can get the Wayne Bridge one if you
Does that
want.
come as a 2-for-1 then, or how does that work?
You actually don't pay money; you just send your wife to John Terry.
Yeah. You buy the John Terry, you get a complimentary Wayne Bridge one.
All right. On that,
I'll take the Mrs. Bridge kit.
It's invisible. Got it.
on that lovely note, my last one. The only kit I don't have from this year is the home kit, so I got to go with the home kit. Let's see. I've got Cucurella. I've got Enzo. Let's go Palmer. Palmer home kit. All right. Quick recap here. Again, make sure to check out on X and check out the poll and let us know who had the best Christmas list here. Matt with the Christmas pajamas, the navy pre-match top, the Kerr third kit, ugly Christmas sweater, and a Thiago Silva kit. Parker going with a Palmer third kit, the Nike Tech fleece jacket, the blackout shirt, the watch, John Terry signed shirt. I went with the blue as the color book, the pink long sleeve training top, retro cuff knit hat, ice cold FC shirt, and a Palmer home kit. Again, that poll will be up on our X, which is at Flag Down Pod. All right, well, boys, we kind of touched on it a little bit. Let's finish off today's episode by addressing the elephant, the roided up air elephant in the room. That is Mihailo Mudryk. Thoughts?
Seems dumb.
Yeah. I mean, we couldn't go a full season without any drama, right? Like that just wouldn't be our style. We needed something outlandish to happen. Otherwise, it wouldn't be an actual Chelsea campaign. Um, it's a weird scenario because obviously the jokes are there, right? Like, oh, I wonder what Mudryk is like when he's not on performance enhancing drugs because he barely even plays for us, right? You know, you have the joke. I I don't know. It's just really it's an interesting scenario because he's very kind of under the radar, right? You don't hear a lot about him like outside of what, fans say, right? He seems to be pretty private. You don't hear a lot of gripe about him or anything like that. So I don't know. It's just kind of weird to see it coming out of the blue, which is kind of probably the more interesting part of this whole thing. So, um, and depending on what you read, like I came across some article, I forgot where I saw it. So whatever credibility it has, I have no idea. But apparently he took like a polygraph test in London and he passed that. Like, okay. I mean, sure, like great. It's just it's so Chelsea. Like it's just so random. And given the season that we're having right now, the seasons that we have had, the turmoil, we've been through the ringer with this club. It's like, okay, well, yep, there's the thing that was gonna come out of, a really good season and whatever. So I don't know. I guess we just have to wait and see what happens.
So yeah, the suddenness and the polygraph, which it wasn't one of the usual shitty sources. I saw that too. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember thinking like, oh, that was pretty reputable. I know the Athletic released a report saying that there's a good possibility it was contaminated food. Um, the thing that gets me the most about, or the thing that has struck me the most about it, is the club's reaction to this. We see the steroid stuff all the time here in America, NFL, MLB, whatever it happens to be. Um, the club, the team will distance itself from the player, saying basically we did not supply this. This is the player's doing. Yeah, go talk to him about it. The club statement basically said, "Hey, Mudryk has told us, and he has told you, he did not do this. We're going to be there to support him in any way that he needs support." They asked Maresca about it in a presser this week, and he said, "I believe Mihailo Mudryk that he would be there, and he doesn't foresee any big punishments or anything like that because he believes in his guy." Obviously, the club are more well informed than we are here. They're not giving us 100% of the information, but I think there is a larger than a shred of doubt in this, in between the two samples. I think contamination of food absolutely could be an option. Obviously that's going to come with some sort of penalty. What did Pogba get suspended for? 16 months, 18 months for something similar? It's not going to be the 4 years that's being floated, but but that is gonna pique the interest of the media, who are very clearly already moving past Chelsea as a feel-good story back into a hatred of Chelsea. You could kind of see that this week. Oh, Chelsea in crisis. It's our fourth string winger. Calm down. Parker, what about you?
Yeah, I think people talk about the 4 years because that's the maximum sentence, right? It's not the sentence. It's just the maximum amount of time he can get. So up to 4 years gets talked about as 4 years a lot, and people kind of misconstrue those very easily. It's going to be interesting to see how it happens and how it all plays out, and to see what we all get fed for how the process goes, because as we know in the States, things can be mishandlings can happen, and he might be completely innocent. He also may have not intentionally ingested substance that was banned, which I firmly believe that he could take and not know that it was a banned substance and get tested for it. But it's on the players and the training staff to know what's on the ban list and what's not. So I think that there's still a punishment, to be had. Not going to be 4 years. It makes me really worried for him as a professional, just in the sense of he already had a lot going against him at Chelsea in his Chelsea career, and this is a major setback. Any form of suspension is a major setback. He's been doing well in the Conference League, and so he's had a chance to show his skills. And the way I'm viewing it is he's showing off his skills to potential buyers, because someone's going to buy him at some point. Like, he's not a future long-term Chelsea player at this stage. He's not proven a way to find a way to get into the squad, and the people who are better than them are still kind of on the chopping block at Chelsea, so they haven't found a way to secure their spot either. So I just think, like, big setback. We're not going to come anywhere close to recouping the amount of money we spent on this guy, which is a big shame. And I thought we had a chance to recoup a lot of it by having him feature in the Conference League, scoring a bunch of goals, being like, look, in the right system and in the right circumstances, this guy could be your guy. He's just not our guy. So from like a financial perspective, I think that it's a big hit for us, and it's going to be he was already going to be a blemish on the buy people for very expensive price tags, but now he's going to be a bigger blemish. It's going to be a bigger L for us to swallow. I think we're still going to come out positive because of a lot of the W's that we've taken in this kind of transfer game, but I think his legacy at Chelsea is going to be even further tarnished and further diminished, and it's just going to be a bad look for him professionally, and then for us for taking a shot at him. I'm not mad about it. I just think that it's going to be we'll forget that era pretty quickly.
So Parker, I know you saw my hot take on it the morning of. Matt, I'm not sure you have, so let me break this to you. It's breaking news. We'll say it's from the Daily Mail. The KGB definitely slipped Mudryk something in an effort to disgrace a popular Ukrainian, while also punishing the English for making Roman sell Chelsea, sell a vital part of the Russian economy. So no, this is all Vladimir Putin's doing.
Oh, what's really interesting is, so when this news broke, obviously you click on whatever articles, you scroll through shit, and then all of a sudden you come up upon something. And one of the things that I came up on was Mamadou Sakho. You guys remember him? Center back for Liverpool and for Palace. He was charged in 2016 with something similar, with anti-doping. And I'm just been reading up on it now. And he was charged with basically a 30-day suspension of all football, which included going into the Euro, I think it was the Europa finals and something else. But basically all world football that he was going to be a part of. So it might have tied into AFCON, maybe not. But in any event, like, just seeing this and kind of his career after that, right? I think he's playing for like some team in Georgia now, like the Georgian first division or whatever. But this is somebody who played for, PSG, for Liverpool. Like, he played for big teams, so he wasn't like a slouch or anything, but it definitely tarnished his career. And then 4 years later, the World Anti-Doping Agency says, oh yeah, it was a mistake on our part. Like, he didn't do this, and then got paid like a settlement of like 16.7 mil or something like that, which is chump change when you look at salaries in world football, right? If you're looking at a salary for a Georgian first division team versus a salary of a starting center back at either a Liverpool or a PSG, 16.7 mil is not going to cut it at all for everything. So I'm looking at this, it makes me more concerned about his reputation than it does anything else, regardless of him being a Chelsea player or anything, right? There's going to be this reputation behind him that he was charged or whatever. They found him, and nothing might come of this, right? It's very possible, but still, it's going to be that reputation that kind of follows him. So I think that's going to be the most damaging part of this whole thing for him.
Well, Parker, you and I had kind of talked that morning of you know, Mudryk is under contract for a while here, either loan or permanent sale. Who's going to want him? You know, Matt, you just mentioned Sacco. He's now, like you said, in the Georgian league. Mudryk is not as established as Sacco was. Where, you know, assuming he's banned for 6 months, a year, maybe. What do you do with him when he comes back?
I think it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for him to kind of reestablish his value to other teams. And like I said, he was doing a good job with that when he featured for Chelsea, and he was. The other thing that I forgot about that was funny as I was kind of looking into this again. He flew to Saudi Arabia this weekend for the Tyson Fury fight, which is not not a good time for that, right? People don't like when you're in the public eye, when you're kind of facing scandal, right? They want you to hide away, and Mudryk wanted to support his countrymen and go out to Saudi Arabia for the fight. So Matt, you talk about reputation. It's just funny because I laugh when I hear things like that. Like you're doing things to damage your rep when you knowingly kind of step out into the public eye when things are not looking good for you as a professional. I have no idea who takes a flyer on him, but I know that teams were willing to take a flyer on him when he wasn't performing well, like when he was a complete bench and looked like a complete flop. You know, he still had teams kind of knocking on the door saying, "Hey, we'll take him off your hands." And our guys were like, "No, we believe in our guy, right? He's still part of our plan. He's still part of our development program, whatever." Um, how long that sentiment lasts is, I think, going to be dependent on how long the suspension is. If it's 30, 60, 90 days, I think it's something we can live with and kind of go from there and put it behind us. If it's half a year, 2 years, like, then it's going to be really tough. And then I think it's a direct correlation to how much of your investment do you lose out on is how long that suspension is, because he is young, so he still has prime career years ahead of him, and people have seen what he can do. People have seen his speed in general. So people are going to take a flyer. Like, it might not be Premier League, it might not be top flight football, but someone's going to take a flyer on him. He's going to be playing somewhere. He's too talented of a skill set to not go anywhere. But you're not going to come anywhere close, like I said, to recouping your investment. And it was an 88 million pound transfer. You know, could we get 25, 30 for him today? Maybe. I don't know.
Play a quick round of gun to your head. In 2 years' time, we'll say if Mudryk is still at the club that he ends up with post suspension or just coming out of suspension, depending on how you look at it. What club is Mihailo Mudryk with?
In 2 years, regardless of the result of,
Let's say he's suspended a year and a half, sold 6 months later.
I'm going to say he ends up playing in Saudi Arabia.
I think he goes back to Shakhtar.
Both not bad shouts. I'm going to go Nottingham Forest.
Chris Wood replacement? No. Wrong position, but yeah.
Callum Hudson-Odoi replacement.
There you go.
All right. Well, boys, on that lovely note, we head into Christmas. Any closing thoughts?
Christmas season, time to be thankful, be with family. And then I love Boxing Day, man. Boxing Day is just like, it's one of my dreams to go to a match on Boxing Day. I don't know when that'll ever happen, how I'll ever be able to make that work, but it's like one of the top things I want to do is go to a game on Boxing Day. I just think it would be a blast and a fun holiday to celebrate over in the UK. So it's a great sports holiday, though. I love NBA on Christmas Day is always a great time. There's some NFL on Christmas Day this year. Boxing Day's got a shit ton of soccer. So enjoy it with your family, with your friends, and have some beers, watch some sports.
What he said.
All right, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review. Keep leaving those comments. I've seen an influx of comments over the last couple of weeks. We certainly appreciate those. If you got any, like I said, questions, comments, concerns, reach out on X, on Facebook. Leave a comment. Find us on all those things at Flag Down Pod. From all of us here at Flag Down, that's Flag Stays Down podcast. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever else you celebrate. We hope you enjoy it. Cheers.
Cheers, boys.
Later.